You know, um, relationships make more sense once you know about attachment theories. Have you ever wondered why every time you're about to get close to someone, you shut down emotionally? Or why, your jealousy flares even when you know you're being irrational? On the other hand, perhaps you are the type of person who slides easily into a relationship and wonders, why all the drama. It turns out we have an attachment style, or styles, even. Attachment is the strong emotional connection we form with others to fulfill our basic human needs. And we're going to dive in a little bit into this chapter that I wrote. Okay, so when we are children, we are dependent on caregivers for our health and well-being. And then for all, that adulting we have to do later, we crave a support system that mimics what we had in childhood. People need other people. We are fundamentally, um, social animals. So how adult attachment styles form is probably your question next, right? So, more than half a century ago, I think it was psychologists developed an attachment theory, they called it. How our parents or guardians cared for us in our first 5 years played a pivotal role in our emotional development, and from that we developed an attachment style that informs how we behave in intimate relationships, including close friendships, romantic partnerships, and even with family. They are divided into two camps. We'll say it's secure and insecure. And the insecure category has several subtypes too. Remember, you can also have a combination of styles. Our attachment style, formed in the first 5 years, actually has a lasting impact, including our romantic partnerships. So that is why all the drama. So you may have gotten your braces removed and grown out of your bangs, but chances are you still have close to the same attachment style for life even. Our adult style typically mirrors the one we developed as a kid. Learning about attachment styles can be illuminating. It might even make you involuntarily mutter, aha, right? Because you'll go, oh, under your breath. But try not to assign guilt, as you listen to what I'm telling you. Remember, none of us have control over the way we were raised. The best we can do as adults is make an effort to understand our own stories and use that information to grow as partners and friends. So number one is secure. What it looks like. A lucky 60% of us have a secure attachment style. For these people, it's a walk in the park to show emotion and affection in a relationship, while simultaneously maintaining a sense of independence, i.e., not letting the relationship become all-consuming. My adult son shows me proof of that. He's in love. They're magic together. They actually broke up even and got back together later and are better for it because they both had some growing up to do, and then, made me a grandma too. So I'm relieved to see him in such an affectionate and loving relationship. The science is true because me and his dad did not have a healthy relationship, but he had my nurturing and doting affection, and still does. And his father didn't, disappear. I wasn't going to let that happen. But because a child is given some concrete fundamentals, those generally grow up able to work through and move forward from conflict with ease. Secure folks are not the type to read through their partner's phones or freak out when they don't receive a text. So how it forms from childhood, a secure attachment style forms when caregivers quickly and sensitively give a child the support they need while still giving them space to develop their own liberty of their self. When parents recognize and attend to their child's needs on a consistent basis, the child trusts they are there for them. Me self-sacrificing my personal needs at least appears to have actually fed my kids in a positive way because I put my focus on them to the best of my ability. It turns out that regardless if you're a good parent or a bad parent, though, that your children in their teen years are not going to be nice. And as much as it hurts or feels hard, maintain boundaries and consistency, because when they grow out of that, they look back and begin to appreciate you more because you did just that. So number 2 is anxious, preoccupied. I sit in the grass. I'm starting to get itchy already. Those with an anxious, preoccupied attachment style may have doubts about the relationship's strength, feel unreasonably jealous, or harbor constant fears that their partner is going to leave. The anxious, preoccupied tend to overanalyze their relationship. They may obsess over their partner's social media, thinking there's hidden meaning to a post when in fact, nothing's wrong. To keep worry at bay, they may over-communicate, texting all day long or just racing thoughts about that person day and night, even with need to know where they are or what they are doing because they are not present. So how it forms in childhood. You may have an anxious, preoccupied attachment style if your caregivers were inconsistent and unpredictable with their attentiveness. With this style, caregivers tend to be overprotective and are excessively, they hold and touch the child. Often anxious, preoccupied children irritate this overbearing behavior in their own relationships. Number 3 is dismissive avoidant. What it looks like. A person with a dismissive avoidant attachment style may see themselves as independent and refrains from asking for help. They might deny themselves emotional intimacy because they don't, want to be perceived as needy, and they may reject such openness from others. This is the type who has a seemingly endless string of semi-serious, partners to whom he refuses to fully commit. Or maybe it's the ex who once, comfortable expressed vulnerability with you and it made you uncomfortable. So how it forms in childhood. When caregivers dismiss the emotional needs of a child or treat them in a detached, aloof way, the child might eventually stop communicating their emotional needs altogether, as they believe it has no effect. This helps explain why dismissive avoidance styles often have trouble expressing emotion and affection to their partners. Now this I can directly relate. I go more in depth in my book, of course. But here are the highlights. Both of my children's fathers are dismissive avoidance, even both narcissistic. The first, grandiose, very abusive, zero remorse, and unrequited love. The second, a covert narcissist, true love, but highly manipulative. But look at the building blocks. The first one, my ex-husband, had a father that kept a job, right? But both his children and grandchildren, he touched inappropriately. So he became, a child predator. And then, he ended up growing up to be an adult predator of children himself. So the second one, respectfully, had an absent father most times, and both mama and dad showed narcissistic traits. Also, parents had children with other adults, So he grew up with multiple partners and children with, each relationship, however short-lived. Now you see how it's like direct correlation, though, of the upbringing. I had a note here. Let me see what this note says. When I was talking, because I wanted to say about the whole, people think that the part about, inappropriate touching, or something like that, is that it could be hereditary. I don't believe that at all. I definitely feel like it's like a demon spirit. His namesake is nothing like him, my CJ. Not just looks, and trust me, they're like night and day, but the personality too, the physical, the emotional. CJ's very affectionate, never fake. It's funny, I'm doing so much learning, not just, healing and teaching. But the first thing is, wow, another book idea. Is that another prophecy? It just jumped from the page like that. I'll make a note real quick of this to come back to. Wow. So anyway, so the first one, there's no hope. I can only continue to pray for his soul. The second still has an opportunity to be better. He just has to want better. Maybe we'll look back at a later chapter for an update. Let's see what happens with fearful avoidant now. Number 4. What it looks like. People with a fearful avoidant style often crave a close relationship but feel unworthy of love, or afraid of losing the intimacy once they have it. Because of their insecurities around love, they tend to avoid intimacy and suppress feelings that do arise. The fearful avoidant might feel intense feelings of love for a new partner, but right when things start to get serious, they start to panic and search for reasons the relationship could never work. So, how it's formed in childhood. If your caregiver subjected you to abuse, neglect, or rejection, or if they were volatile or unpredictable, causing you fear as a young child, you may have a fearful avoidant attachment style. So here's a direct example to relate. Again, just highlights, of course, the rest is in my book. But let me just breathe for a minute. This is hard. My mother had 10 children, all different fathers, nasty drug and men addiction that never ceased. 3 of her kids are dead now, actually, as a direct relation to it. All of us kids were in the system. CPS removed all of us. We all were molested. We all were abused. We all were neglected. 2 were put up even for public adoption, because she simply would not put her kids before the drug or the man. She couldn't keep a boyfriend, or called him a stepdad to save her life. I'm going to come back to that Italian spirit, because that makes me think of, she couldn't keep a man to save her life. But she stayed fueled. She too, grandiose narcissist, zero remorse, lives a very fake life, on Facebook with this whole, the public, quotes scripture and constantly gets her followers to pray for her for these serious illnesses that she doesn't even have. I'm told finally justice for her is coming. Thus saith the Lord. She doesn't know love from a can of paint. However, the blessing already is it struck a very deep chord for me when I became a parent. Number 1 vow, never choose a substance, much less a drug, or a man over my child, period. He's agreeing with me. Hence, we come to disorganized, number 5. What it looks like, similar to the fearful avoidance style. People with a disorganized attachment style want and crave love, but experience severe stress and fear in relationships. They are often overcome with low self-esteem and talk themselves into believing that no one will love them. They do not love themselves. If they are in a relationship, they may rely heavily on their partner to ease their stress or anxiety. Yet they may never feel at ease in a relationship because of a lack of trust and fear of abandonment. How it forms in childhood. A disorganized attachment style is often rooted in unresolved trauma. This may be trauma you experienced as a child, or it could be inherited from a parent who faced severe emotional hardship in their own lives. I think I'll go more in depth with that because I think I have the answer even for that. You may also have a disorganized attachment style at your caregiver who might have had a personality disorder and was therefore unpredictable in their parenting strategies. Well, so here's the highlights on this personal written story of mine. Both of my parents were raised with workaholic, alcoholic parents, and my parents chose to be promiscuous and drug addicts, alcoholics at a very young age, and the relationship with their parents were non-existent. But now here lies another big blessing, and I say that big blessing. Both my grandparents on both sides were huge to me, very loving. I can't tell you how bad they felt and how much they apologized for their children. My grandfather called me Petal. My grandmother called me Love. And I remember my grandfather, her father, even telling me, thank God that you're not pregnant. My parents' behavior and lack of desire to be healthy, much less apparent, constantly, their parents apologized and really they fed into me. They were there for me. They did not hurt me or ever leave me until, they died. I even got to be there to say goodbye just before they did. Thank you, Father God. I remain grateful for that. I know that was a blessing too, that they made sure, he made sure that I had that. So you may ask, will I always have the same attachment style? What didn't kill you may have broke you, but you can build from that. It's a choice. You have to make the shift. While you generally carry your attachment style from childhood with you in adulthood, your style can be influenced by other people you have a relationship with, especially. For example, say you typically have a secure attachment style, but then you end up in a relationship with a dismissive avoidant type. Because you never know what the other person is thinking or feeling, you might start to become insecure, overanalyzing everything they do, or worse, what they didn't do or don't do. And you begin building up your own walls internally to protect yourself. And the reverse can happen. Time spent in partnership with someone who has a secure attachment style can help you feel more secure. If you weren't already a calm cucumber, so to speak, being in a healthy relationship, hair's getting in my face, for a long period of time where we gradually learn we are safe and loved, we can overcome earlier bad experiences and shape romantic attachment style in a more positive form. Another thing to keep in mind is that attachment styles are exacerbated in times of stress. For example, if you're an anxious, preoccupied type, you might not exhibit that behavior all the time. But then you have an argument with your partner and you start obsessing over what happened and feelings, and extra needy, for the reassurance. Likewise, if you typically have like a secure attachment style, but also identify with some traits of one of the insecure subsets, a sudden life change or time adversity might cause you to feel less secure in your relationship. So how to become more secure? People who have a secure attachment style tend to be healthier, are less likely to be depressed, and they have tighter ties to friends and family, which might have you wondering, how can I get, that too? The truth is that attachment styles tend to stay relatively stagnant throughout a person's life unless the person makes, again, that deliberate shift. It's a conscious thing to change their style. Long-term couples that do intimacy exercises, such as like answering questions about one another and doing partner projects, actually helps avoidant partners to align closer to a secure attachment style. So, pinpoint your attachment style. That's important. This is a great starting point for working toward a more secure style. If someone with an insecure attachment is not even aware that they have an issue or where the issue stems from, then it can be difficult for them to work on it. Learn from your secure friends. As a result of consciously interfacing and connecting with individuals who are able to connect in a safe, trusting, worthy way, the individual with the insecure attachment style can slowly but surely learn that it is safe to attach to another person. Of course, you don't have to ditch your current relationship in search of someone with the secure, attachment style. If willing, both people can work together to set boundaries, open the lines of communication, and help each other feel more secure, regardless of their attachment style. So communicate with your partner. Couples can help each other by maintaining safe, open, regular communication, by consistently setting and maintaining relationship agreements. The secure partner models the very type of behavior and inner security that the insecure person lacks and craves. When the secure person consistently, shows up, as they say, in the relationship in an honest, straightforward way, the insecure partner's brain has the opportunity to rewire with new thoughts and patterns that say, I'm safe, I am loved, I am secure even. If you are the secure person in the relationship, it's important to set clear and rational boundaries, even if these may upset the insecure person at times. One of the worst things a secure person can do is to give into an insecure person's excessive dependency or fearful behavior, or even go to therapy. And you could even do that online. And I don't even mean have to have like a one-on-one, which I'm not saying that's not important either, because I've done both, but any type of things like this where you go to like any kind of coaching or learning about yourself, learning about your behaviors. That's all very therapeutic too. So you get to the root cause and you pinpoint your triggers. Seeking a professional even, or a therapist, like I was saying, can also teach communication techniques and coping strategies for dealing with difficult emotions. Couples counseling is also a recommendation. So what is my attachment style? There are tons of attachment style quizzes. You can even go online to choose from. It plots out your attachment style, so to speak, certainly gives you a general idea of which was closest to you. It goes more in depth than what I'm doing. I'm just kind of giving like a broad, idea. So your traits you begin to notice because you're taking this questionnaire, and it helps you look at them. You can begin to view helpful tips to strengthen if it's a secure attachment, or you can learn if you edge more toward like an anxiety or avoidance style. Keep in mind you have two options: to learn your style, understand many can and will have even traits in more than one style, and decide to view ways to improve your approach to personal development and become better overall, or not care and stay stuck. People who say anything like, wherever you go, there you are, have a lack mindset for sure, that choose to not go anywhere or do anything. Yet the reality is that we can't change how we were raised, but we can do, better. I like, Mother Teresa says, no matter what, you should accept it with a smile and do your own work. So exploring attachment theory can be tough, especially if it means, unpacking painful memories from your childhood or past relationships even. But awareness of our attachment style can make us more self-aware. When we know our triggers, we can find ways to work through our emotions, communicate better, and navigate our set boundaries. In short, doing the work can make your current relationship or future ones feel more secure and satisfying. And I think the only thing I was going to add earlier when I said I'll come back to that was when I mentioned about CJ, nothing like his father, Isaiah, I thought, oh, that's how gifts, when I was talking about channeling the other day, remembering that Isaiah is really into theater and does really well. And I know that's for me because their father also doesn't have any talents. See, now Wittle has an enormous amount of talents, and that's because her father has talents too. So it's amazing when you get, two strong spiritual beings with strong gifts. You can make all kinds of great things, right? All right, see you guys later. Okay, bye.